You can't join our book club.
This is about the X-Men.
You can't join our book club. Hi, there's a camera right here. Hello. You can't join our book club.
What if the cameras don't record right?
You can't join our book club. Then you didn't see it. It's fine.
Book club, book club,
book club, book club, book club, book club.
Yeah. Welcome back to
Guys,
everybody's favorite show.
We're back.
You can't join our book club.
It's season 2, baby. We're here.
We're coming in
for
hot.
a time.
Here we are.
We're here.
Season 2.
Yeah. And we might be recording right now, hopefully.
Yeah, this might be on camera if we're lucky.
Because we're in costume.
If we're not lucky, yeah. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But here we are. This season is all about novelizations of books.
Yeah.
Books and movies.
Novelizations.
And TV shows.
Yeah.
And games. So this is a novelization of a graphic novel.
Yeah. Now what is
honestly,
that
it's not even really a graphic novel. It's just 2 issues of a comic book.
Yeah. It's ridiculous how short it is.
Yeah.
I just reread it earlier.
Yeah.
It took me like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I reread the actual comic last night just to prep for this, and I was done in like 40 minutes. I don't know, something. It was pretty quick. This book, this novel, is Days of Future Past. It's X-Men. It's based on 2 issues of, I guess, the original X-Men run.
Yes. Issues 141 and 142, written by Chris Claremont, artisted by John Byrne.
Yeah, John Byrne.
Yeah.
Yeah. And basically, after those 2 issues, everybody was like, "Oh, that was really cool," and made a big deal out of it. And so, it seems like it should be this big thing, and it's kind of not. But
at all.
We read both the comic and the novelization of the comic. The novelization came out in like 2014.
Somewhere around there.
Which is right around the time that the movie came out.
Yes.
And the movie really doesn't have a lot of ties to the original comic other than the basic concept of the story.
And the name.
Yeah. The book itself is very faithful to the original story.
Yes.
So I guess let's jump in a little bit on the... Well, I guess before we jump in on that, the drink.
The drink.
So what I've made is... It's basically just an old-fashioned.
Oh.
With a little alteration, and I've got the dumbest name for it possible. I'm gonna call this future fashioned.
Nice.
It is it's 1.5 ounces of bourbon. I used Larceny bourbon, and it's got splash of orange bitters, and I've got a couple cherries in there, and I've got about 1/2 ounce of Coke, because why not?
Yeah.
Because Coke was popular in the 80s.
Coke was extremely popular in the 80s.
when this book when this comic came out.
Yeah.
So here we go.
Have we ever dinked on this show before?
I don't think we have.
Oh my goodness.
That's a little embarrassing.
Yeah, right where no camera can see it.
Days of Future Fashioned. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
A little funky.
Yummy.
But I'll go for it.
I like it.
Yeah. So let's jump in a little bit on the plot of this.
Yeah.
Basically, and I guess, I don't remember the format of our show.
It's fine. We haven't done this ever before.
Yeah. So the general plot of this is the mutants in the future, the distant future of 2013, they're all dying because there are these sentinel robots that are killing them all, rounding them up and putting them into labor camps and killing them all. And they're also killing a lot of just regular humans that carry the mutant gene.
Yeah.
Basically, a bunch of people have rebelled, and all the people that rebelled are dead, and all the people that haven't rebelled are in labor camps, basically.
Yeah. It's a little uncomfortable to talk about. It's basically the Holocaust, except they're superheroes instead
Right.
of Jewish people.
Yeah, very uncomfortable. And so the big idea is, hey, what if we did some time travel to fix this? What if we sent somebody back in time to try and prevent any of this from happening? And the idea is that everything started to go wrong when they killed this one senator guy.
Senator Kelly.
Senator Kelly.
This is going to be the one thing where I know all the names.
Yeah. And so they're like, if we can just make sure that the bad mutants don't kill Senator Kelly, wow, what do they call themselves? The New Brotherhood?
The Brotherhood of Evil Mutants.
The New Brotherhood of Evil Mutants, because they're the second one.
Brand new.
And so they have a plot to assassinate this senator, along with good old Chuck Xavier.
Yeah.
And
AKA Wheels.
Yeah. And I'm sure there were other people on the list eventually, but those were the main ones.
Yeah.
And
I think, did they want to kill Moira at that point?
maybe. Yeah,
I know
Moira
she-
McTaggart.
Yeah, because she tagged along with Charles, but
She tagged along.
yeah, I don't know if it was. I know she's a mutant now.
Mm-hmm.
This is gonna be like the nerdiest episode because I know way too much about X-Men.
That's all right.
I know she is a mutant. I don't know if it was revealed back in the 80s that she was a mutant or not, but she's
I don't think it was. At least it wasn't obvious in this story.
yeah.
But yeah, so that's the general concept. We can jump into a little bit more spoilery territory here now.
Right now.
So I've got So yeah, basically everybody's dead.
Yeah, that is yeah.
So Kitty Pryde, or as she's known in the future, Kate Pryde, which is who I'm dressed as.
That's you.
She's supposed to be sent back in time. Her mind is supposed to be sent back in time. That's very important.
Yeah.
And she will inhabit her 13-year-old self, and she's gonna try and convince the X-Men to help her stop this assassination. To include all the uncomfortableness, she and Colossus are married.
Yeah.
But when they in the past, in 1981, and she's just joined the team, she's 13, and Colossus is, I don't know, an adult.
Yeah. Yeah, fully grown adult Russian farmer male.
And there is a line in there where she says, "I've loved you from the moment we first met," and I'm like, you didn't have to say that.
Yeah.
You could have not said that, and everything would have been fine.
Yeah, that is I know I was joking about it earlier with you, but no, it is very not cool.
Yeah.
Very pedophilic.
Mm-hmm.
You can't avoid it, really.
Yeah, I mean, like, you go far enough into the future and the age difference there isn't a big deal anymore.
Yeah.
But it's a problem because you guys knew each other that whole time.
Yeah.
Like, yikes. And then a big plot point of this is he doesn't want her to go back because, he's afraid that they're not going to be together if that happens. And I'm like, bro, if it saves the world, you're going to have to get over that.
Yeah,
Maybe find somebody your own age.
Yeah. If it saves the world, you can get rid of your child bride.
Yeah.
I'm just realizing now, it's very obvious to us and probably to a lot of people. Should we, like, just for safety, explain who these people are?
Probably. Yeah, so Kitty Pryde
Kitty Pryde
is
she can walk through walls.
Yeah, she can walk through walls. She can phase through things.
Yeah. Colossus can turn into a metal guy.
Big old metal dude.
Big old metal man. Because we're just talking about these like these are friends we know.
Yeah.
Which they are.
They are.
I've known them since the 80s.
And there are other characters in the future. Magneto is in the future.
Yeah.
He can
do
metal stuff.
Magnet stuff. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Storm can control storms.
Yeah.
Who else do we got?
Wolverine.
Do you guys know Wolverine?
He's got the metal in his hand. He's got metal in his hand, and that's why he's special.
He's all messed up.
He got surgery one time.
Yeah. He got rods.
Trying to think if there's anybody else super important in the future. I don't think there really is. I mean, there's like one of the Fantastic Four's kids is in the future.
Yeah, my boy Frank.
There's Rachel, she's the one that's gonna send Kitty Pryde back to the past.
Yeah, she's a child of people who are dead.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And also she's only like a potential person because she only exists in certain timelines. Comics are really cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
But we don't have to dive into all that.
And in the past, we have Kitty Pryde.
Yeah.
We have Angel.
We got Angel. Guess what he can do?
He's got angel wings. He flies around.
He got wings. You got Nightcrawler.
The
coolest X-Men.
He can go poof.
Yeah, because he looks like a demon, and that has nothing to do with his powers.
Yeah. He can just teleport.
Yeah, he can just teleport, and he likes swords.
Yeah.
And, is there really anyone else?
I mean, yeah, we already talked about Wolverine. Professor X is in the past. He can
his
telepath stuff.
Being in a wheelchair.
Yeah. And, yeah, I feel like that's about it.
You guys should know the X-Men at this point.
Colossus.
It's the X-Men.
It's the X-Men. So
specifically, the second team of X-Men.
Yeah. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. I don't want to dive into all that either.
So, Kitty Pryde, they do a whole plan to get them. They have these collars on that keep their powers from doing anything.
Yeah.
And so they have a whole plan to jam those so that they can take them off and then zap Kitty into the past. And they do that. And in the comic, they do that. And then pretty immediately she convinces the team, like, okay, there's a problem. We got to go take care of that. And they fly to DC and they go to this meeting.
Yeah. It's this like press conference.
Yeah. Where Senator Kelly is trying to convince everybody that the mutants are awful.
Yeah.
And at this conference, hearing, whatever, the new Brotherhood are trying to assassinate
him. Kill him dead.
To be like, hey, don't mess with us.
Yeah, he's right.
And
mutants are bad.
Yeah, and obviously that's a very flawed plan. So now that the X-Men are there, they immediately, try and stop the Brotherhood. That's all good and stuff. But Mystique is there, and she can make herself look like anyone. So in the comic, there's a whole fight, and she looks like Nightcrawler, and there's a whole thing happening, and it's a lot. But the headline is she gets Senator Kelly separated, and he's off in his office with another character, Destiny, who can predict the future,
kind of,
sort of, except she can't for this entire story because Kitty Pryde messes that up by being there.
Yeah.
And so she tries to kill Senator Kelly
with like a crossbow.
And
that's so, I love that.
Yeah. So Kitty Pryde phases through her and like knocks her arm so that she misses, and in the process, Destiny like, oh crap, my brain is messed up a little bit because the anomaly touched me or whatever.
And she shoots a child.
But then Senator Kelly's fine. Well, in the comic, she doesn't shoot a child.
Oh, you're right.
So Senator Kelly's fine. They do a whole thing where they're like, where everything's good, but did we save the future? Oh, I don't know. But in the future, you see that Wolverine gets killed, Colossus gets killed, Storm gets killed, Rachel gets killed, Magneto gets everybody dies.
Yeah.
Every single character in the future dies. So you're like, well, I hope they changed the future because that sucks.
Yeah. No, it's a bummer.
But they're like, oh, did we do it? Oh, I don't know. And then there's like, a post-credits scene in the comic where they're like, hey, everything bad seems to still be happening, by the way.
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, the Sentinels are still getting made and stuff. So that's the comic. The book does all of that pretty much the same way.
Except better,
in
my opinion.
Yeah. There are things that are better about it. And so the key difference there is that Kitty Pryde wakes up in the future when they send her mind to the past.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in the comic. Kitty Pryde in the future is just unconscious the entire time. So that's the biggest difference there. A couple of other differences, they don't believe her at first when she goes to the past. She's like, hey, this is what's going on. And they're like, that doesn't actually make any sense.
Yeah.
I think you're
crazy.
lying.
Yeah.
And so they kind of go about what they're doing. They know about this breakout that's happened, so they go to investigate it. And it ties into what's going on because the person that got broke out was one of the New Brotherhood.
Yeah. The Blob.
Yeah, so they're doing a whole fight there. Kitty tries to go help them, but she ends up kind of being a problem. And then they eventually figure out, okay, she's telling the truth. Or they still don't really believe her, but they fly her to Washington, D.C., and Charles reads her mind.
Yeah, and he's like, I don't know if this is true, but she definitely believes it to be true.
Yeah, the whole time they're like, maybe it's the Brotherhood trying to pull one over on us. Like, maybe somebody's messing with her mind. But ultimately, everything works out the same. She does get shot saving the senator.
Yeah.
Because instead of phasing through destiny, she phases through the senator and just takes one for him.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, other than that, it's pretty much the same. Everybody still dies in the future. We just see more of it.
Yeah. I will say, though, something that I really enjoyed about the book is that they give Magneto way more time in the future.
Yes, I did appreciate that.
I think that's important because of how, and again, this is where it gets a little uncomfortable, how much this fake situation reflects a very real situation, aka the Holocaust.
Yeah.
Which in the comics, Magneto was also present at because he is a survivor.
Yeah.
And then he goes and has to deal with all this again. And it really speaks to his character, just like how he handles it, which is with a lot of rage.
Yeah. Yeah, and I did appreciate that. I thought it was really dumb in the comic how they have him die off screen.
Yeah, it's so boring.
They're just like, yep, he sacrificed himself for us. Moving on. And that's kind of disappointing. Also, they mention the Canadian resistance something.
Oh, I thought you were talking about something else.
Well, they mention Alpha Flight.
They mentioned my favorite superhero team, Alpha Flight, the best superhero team. And then in the comics, they have like a whole story before Days of Future Past, which is great.
Yeah.
You get to see most of them.
But they don't even really reference them much in the comic.
No.
But they do talk about this army that Logan Wolverine is working with, and we don't see them at all in the comic.
No.
In the book, they show up and help them try and take the Baxter building, which is where all the Sentinels are.
There are actually like a few like named soldiers that are like sticking with them throughout a lot of it. And then of course they die.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's more or less the story. That's pretty much what happens.
Yeah.
I think some of the biggest differences. I mean, we talked about how Kitty doesn't get through to them right away, but I thought it was really odd. They had Wolverine in the comic. He's like, "Oh, I believe her. She smells like a woman," which was weird.
Yeah.
But I got it. I got what they were trying to do because Wolverine's supposed to have these like animalistic senses.
Yeah. He has a time traveling nose.
So he's supposed to be able to like he can sense in her body language and other things that like her smell, I guess, that she's legit. And then in the book, Wolverine's like, I don't buy this at all.
Yeah.
And
he's one of the more like it's almost like hardest to convince him.
Yeah.
In the book.
Yeah.
Which makes sense because he's a very stubborn guy.
Yeah. Well, and I thought that made sense. I was torn on some of it in the book because I'm kind of like, why is it so hard to convince you guys? Because she's giving way too much information for it to be like, for a lot of it, they're like, you just have a concussion or something. And it's like, well, that's clearly not what's happening.
Yeah.
Like I'm all right with the idea. Okay, maybe she's being mind controlled. Maybe whatever comic-y made up thing is happening. Sure, but this isn't. She got a head injury.
Yeah,
you know,
it's like yeah, she's telling you like a full account of what's happening in the future.
Yeah. She told you what happens over the next 23 years. You should like that. That's a lot. So I don't know. I thought that was a little weird.
Also, I think this is something that bothers me a lot when they do this in comics. I know that they don't know that they're in a comic, but they're the X-Men. They deal with weird stuff all the time. This should not be that hard to believe.
Well, that's the other thing about it is like, I felt like the way they write the book, it's making it seem like they don't ever deal with anything out there.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, I mean, if this happened in the world that you and I live in, it would be like, well, yeah, no, that didn't happen. I promise you that didn't happen. But in X-Men world,
you guys are like you guys are fighting aliens.
Yeah, this happens on the daily.
Yeah.
Come on.
You guys have like gone to hell at this point.
Yeah, literally a couple issues before they go to hell. So it's like come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that was one of my gripes was that it takes them a long time to figure it out. I do like how Kitty talks about how she feels different in her childhood self. Like she's like, oh, I've got all this energy and I can like do stuff again. That's cool. And then her young counterpart is like, oh my gosh, everything
so
hurts.
old.
Yeah. And I was like, that's cool. I like that. So I thought it was really dumb how they argued forever about going to get Magneto in the future.
Yeah.
They're like in the book, they have this whole thing where they're going back and forth about it. And it's like, do it or don't. I just pick a lane and do
like,
it.
They end up just not doing anything.
Yeah.
They don't make a decision.
Yeah.
And then he comes back anyway after they all died, which is what they deserve.
Yeah,
for
honestly.
leaving him out there for so long.
Yeah. Yeah, because Kitty the whole time, she's like, we got to go help him because he saved her in the book. And then they're all like, nah, we got to leave him. And it's just a whole thing. And it's, I don't know, very annoying to read that.
Yeah.
Like, I get it. I get what they were trying to do, but I didn't enjoy that part. So there's like a weird thing where they debate about sending Kitty somewhere, but I don't remember where.
Oh, yeah. So something that I think is really weird that they explain it, I think both in the book and the comic, is that this whole issue with the Sentinels in the future, it's located only within the United States at this point. So sending her up to Canada is like totally fine, even though it's, you know, they're in New York. It's right up there.
Right.
But yeah, that'd be perfectly safe. But also a whole thing that I don't think we mentioned before, the reason why they're trying to, or I really. So what they're doing in the future is they're trying to bomb this like Sentinel HQ type deal. It's like the hive mind computer thingy that gives them all their orders, their instructions, and all
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And they want to destroy that before I think it's the UK or just generally Europe, uh, like nukes them.
Right, right.
So that's the whole reason why they're going up to the Baxter building, because that's where their like central computer thingy is.
Yeah.
Because without it, it's not like it'll kill all of the Sentinels. It's just without that, they won't be like told like, "Hey, let's kill all the mutants." They'll just
Yeah.
kind of be like empty robots.
Right, right, which is absolutely what we want.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, they are just robots. They've just taken over. They make a whole point in, I believe, both the book and the comic of saying, like, their orders were just too broad, honestly.
Yeah. Because that's why it gets. It's not like, oh, we're gonna kill mutants. It's we're gonna kill mutants. We're gonna kill people who could potentially make mutants in the future. Like you're all dead.
Yeah, yeah. So that's messed up.
A little bit, yeah.
There's oh right, yeah. In the book, it talks about how like it does stuff from everybody's perspectives, and it talks about how Logan's hands are itchy, like the backs of his hands where his claws pop out.
Yeah.
And I thought that was kind of cool. I don't know, like just giving a little bit more to what it's like to be these characters.
It's stuff like that that makes me like the book more than the actual comic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because like we said earlier, the comic is extremely short. Like it's a good like foundation for a story,
yeah.
but it's the actual novel that like builds upon that, makes these characters more interesting in this particular story.
Yeah.
Like
yeah, they don't really have time to flesh it out in the comic.
Like I have knowledge of the characters already, so reading them in the comic, it's like, well, yeah, that's fine because I know these people already. I already know how they are.
Right.
They don't have to establish anything. But as a novel, I do think this story works better. It's just far more interesting to me.
Well, and I think if you were reading this in the context of the run itself, you'd probably be like, oh, these are a couple of pretty good issues from that, and I have all the background for it.
Yeah.
But it definitely leaves a little bit that you could get a lot more out of it. Especially, I mean, they don't do a whole lot in the future in the comic, but they do in the book.
Yeah.
And that's nice.
That's why I'm just going to keep saying that's why I like the book more.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I didn't really feel much of anything about the future in the comic. It's like, yeah, it's like the apocalypse or something. Oh, they're all dead. Big whoop. But, in the book, it's, you really get to see these people's struggles.
And you want them to succeed. I mean, you're fighting along with them. You're hoping they do it.
And, like, their deaths are so much more, like, visceral in the book. Like, I know it's a fake out, but Wolverine gets like incinerated, and the way that they describe it is kind of gruesome.
It is.
And in the comic, I know it's like the 80s, and they can't really do much with it, but it's just like zap, he's dead.
I mean, it does look like, if you really look at that panel, you can see his bones and stuff in spots. So it's a little more visceral than I expected it to be, considering
like
what it is.
Yeah, like in the 80s, I'm sure that was really cool.
But it is not really that intense. Well, and you do see his arm and skull in the next panel. So it's like, okay. But in the actual book, they talk about like which parts of his skeleton are visible and stuff like that. But then, like you said, it's a fake out, and then he like ends up still trying to fight them. He ends up dying, but it's like, oh, all right, Wolverine.
And then another thing like that, in the novel, you really get to explore the sort of mindscape of Colossus a lot more.
Yeah.
which I don't like how you said that. Let me make my point real quick.
Yeah.
Uh, I really liked that because the thing that I like about Colossus is that he is sort of the like gentle giant type of character,
Right.
and it really makes that apparent in this novel because he's talking the whole time about he's like, yeah, I really don't want to fight. I'm kind of like a pacifist by nature,
Yeah.
but it's like I'm sort of cursed by my powers to always have conflict find me.
Yeah.
And then when he does snap in the Baxter building, it's like it's really sad.
Yeah.
And when you're reading about it in the comic, it only really talks about him like his nature being like that right at that moment, so it doesn't really hit as hard to me.
That's true. I definitely agree with that.
Now I feel like you're gonna say something.
Well, let me finish with a couple of the things that are different. So I did talk about Kitty getting shot instead of blocking the shot.
Yeah,
As much as that's more intense and exciting, I thought it was kind of dumb because they make a whole thing about how if this works, her mind is going to have to come back to this body. So there's a chance she's killing herself in the past. When I'm like, you know, that she's obviously there listening for a while, and her powers let her walk through stuff.
yeah,
So I'm like, you could probably get behind her and still block it the same way that you do in the comic. Instead, you decide to get shot. You didn't have to do, or you could have shoved Kelly out of the way. Like, you had options, and you picked the most dangerous to you. Why did you do that?
You know what though? I think, and this is part of a larger thing that I want to talk about. I think maybe that works better for like public opinion of the X-Men, because it's like it's not like, oh, this mutant saved Kelly. It's like, no, this mutant like took a bullet or an arrow for him.
Yeah, I guess so. I can see that, but it's just like, you know, we're getting all of this internal like information. If she had said something like that in her mind, like, you know, I'm gonna do this in a way to try and like influence public opinion, I would have been like, sure. But it's obvious that she just, or at least the way it's written, it sounds like she just did that because that's the way she felt like she had to do it.
Perhaps.
Like that was the only way she could think of at the time. And I'm like, are you dumb?
But the reason that I was able to kind of get that out of the reading is because what Storm is talking about throughout the entire fight with the Brotherhood, because Wolverine wants to just kill all these people.
Yeah.
And Storm is pointing out, she's like, hey, there are like a whole bunch of civilians here and like cameras and stuff. We're supposed to be the good guys. We're the X-Men. We can't just be murdering these people.
Yeah.
Because public opinion really counts for them.
Right.
Like they want so desperately to be seen as good guys and not like hunted down.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense. Yeah.
So it made sense in my mind.
I can see that.
Even like incidentally, like
And
that
then
being why she does it.
my last big difference between the two, there were a lot of differences, of course, but this one it's such a little thing, but it kind of summarizes how I felt about a lot of the book. In the graphic or in the comic, they have some lines at the end where they're like trying to figure out like, oh, you know, did we succeed? And I don't remember specifically who says what, but in the comic, basically one of them says, you know, do you think we did it? Do you think we changed the future? And Professor X is like, I know it sounds cliche, but only time will tell. And in the book, one of them says, like, do you think we did it? And someone else is saying something about like, you know, it's gonna be like we're not gonna know. Like we'll find out with time. And then Professor X is like, only time will tell. And I'm like, you're using the same words in two different lines right next to each other, and you didn't have to. Like, you could have written it exactly the same way as the book, and it would have been a lot less clunky to read.
Yeah.
And it's not bad. It's just, why would you do that? And I kept finding myself thinking that the entire time I was reading the book. Just like everything, the way they would phrase stuff, the way, like, there were just lots of things like that in the book that, not that I thought the comic did it better necessarily. I was just like, you changed it, but in a way that like dialogue specifically, you changed it, and it's not better. It's just different.
Okay, so to be clear, your issue is with like how the dialogue is changed from the comic to the novel, right?
Yeah, like,
Which,
I think the dialogue in the comic is really bad, and that's I think just a staple of comics at the time.
mm-hmm.
Like, especially like the older style comics, it's like very, very, like, nobody would talk like this.
Yeah.
And that's fine. And I love that about the comics a little bit. Like, that's something that I enjoy. But it felt to me like our friend Alex Irvine was trying to make the dialogue better,
Mm-hmm.
and instead, in places, made it worse.
See, now I think the reason why you have an issue with that and I don't is because of how we like came at this, because you read the comic first
I did read
and
the
then
comic
the novel.
first.
See, because when I started with the novel first and then read the comic after,
Yeah.
so to me, the dialogue just seems kind of like reminiscent of 80s dialogue in a way.
Yeah.
It's like, fun and pulpy, which
Yeah.
I assumed was like purposeful in the writing.
Well, and I think it probably is. I think it almost definitely is purposeful in the writing. It's just, if it were me personally, I would either do, drastically different things with the dialogue so that that it's getting across the same ideas, but it's not the same dialogue. Or I would use exactly the dialogue and lift it from the text of the comic, and then only add stuff when I need to. Those, I feel like, are the two ways you can go with it. And he went a third, weirder route where he lifted the dialogue from the comic but changed a few words here and there. And it's like, okay, if you're going to use almost all of the same dialogue in all of these places, but in like one spot you're going to change it, I feel like when you change it there, it should be for a reason. You know what I mean? Like, that's my thoughts on that. But, I mean, I don't know. It's just kind of a weird thing. I wish I could find the exact quote. It should be right here at the end.
All right.
Shan't it?
Then I'll pull up the book.
Oh, yeah, here it is. So, do you think her plan worked? Kitty asked. She looked from one of her colleagues to the other. Behind her, Hank sat down and buckled himself into. No way to tell, Angel said. Is there, Professor? I do not know, Warren. Cliché as it sounds, only time will tell, Xavier said. And it's just the duplication of tell there bothers me. I don't know why. No way to tell, only time will tell. And it's like, to me, that feels, it's like rhyming a word with the same word in a song or something. That's how that feels in my brain reading that.
Okay.
And in the comic, that line that Angel says just doesn't exist. Or Angel asks the question, do you think we did it? So, but there's no, somebody asks the questions and Charles answers them, and I just feel like that makes a lot more sense to me. But that's such a minor thing for me to harp on, but for some reason, when I read it, I was like, I don't like that.
You're right. He called it. He is the one who asked the question. Said, Professor, we saved Senator Kelly. Kitty's mind has been returned to her body. Does that mean we change the future? And then I'm assuming Xavier from off screen says, I do not know, Warren. Cliche though it sounds, only time will tell. Epilogue. All right, I'm not reading more.
But so it's just, I guess we can talk now about our takes on the book, uh, or the comic and the book if you wanna.
All right. Well,
Um,
like I said already, this is probably going to be the rare instance this season where I do think the novelization is better than the source material.
yeah,
Um, and I think that it just has an advantage because comics at least were in the 80s much more of a visual medium than a written medium. So the dialogue and just the prose in general is sort of weak,
definitely.
and it gets a big upgrade in just being a book.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I thought it was cool. Thought it was nice. I think it's interesting that because this was written in like the 2010s,
Mm-hmm.
the author was able to sort of add things that wouldn't have been possible back when the story was originally written. Like in the end, Kitty Pryde says that she wants to be called Shadowcat.
Yeah,
It's like, oh yeah, that's what she eventually changes her name to. That's cool.
yeah,
Couldn't have done that when it was originally written because no one knew that.
yeah, yeah. I also thought that was cool. Um, yeah, I guess the comic itself, I enjoyed it, but I thought it was just all right. I don't know what I was expecting really, but I thought it was just all right. And then when I read the book, um, I personally felt like, in a lot of the same ways that you did, I thought that there was a lot there that added to the story and
Mm.
was, beneficial. But I felt like it was sort of a missed opportunity personally. I feel like you could have done more with it. And some of the stuff that I felt like you probably viewed as like an homage to the source material, to me read more of like just a lack of, you know, balls to do something with it.
Mm.
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, I feel like a lot of it was like, here, I'm gonna do this exactly like it is in the comic and not change it at all. But then I'm gonna change these things here in ways that I didn't think benefited the story, and that I don't fully understand.
See, I wonder if there was pressure to keep a lot of things the same because you said this was what, like 2014
Mhm.
roughly. So I'm trying to think because I blame modern nerd culture almost exclusively on Big Bang Theory. So that was in full swing by this point. Being a
Yeah.
nerd was cool. Everyone knew the X-Men. So I'm wondering if because the medium was starting to get so popular, like we have the MCU in full swing by that point, um, if like he was kind of encouraged maybe to put almost like verbatim a lot of dialogue in there.
Yeah, yeah, and that definitely could be true. Um, which this is not necessarily any reflection on the author himself. I'm sure that he probably didn't have a whole lot of creative freedom with this story
Yeah.
anyway.
And also, I don't know.
Just it being a Marvel thing.
Yeah, I don't know what else he's written.
I
Has he,
do.
has he written anything that's not Marvel?
I did want to mention on that Colossus note that you were talking about. I personally felt like, I don't know. It almost seemed to me, I didn't quite view it the same way you did with his break at the end. To me, it felt like here's a lot of something that should lead somewhere. Like he's feeling all these feelings and that should go somewhere, but then it kind of doesn't. It fizzles out a little bit. And you're right. I mean, he does snap at the end, and that should be a big thing. But because he dies almost immediately, it just, to me, didn't have that much impact because he doesn't have to sit in it after it happens. And I do get what, like, with it being his last thing, I guess it maybe should have impacted me more. But
See, I think that, well, I kind of disagree because I think him dying, like, as a result of that, kind of, it makes that future uh, just a bit more impactful to me because it's like, yeah, we're finally starting to see things go in motion. There is character growth, even if it's not in a good way, and then it immediately gets cut off.
Yeah.
And like that's just how messed up this future is.
That's interesting.
Like when he dies in the novel, I'm like, oh, damn, that really sucked, because like things were getting somewhere.
Yeah, I guess I can see that.
But you think that it being cut off is more of a bad thing, I guess.
I mean, not necessarily that it's a bad thing. It's just I don't know. I don't know what I would have wanted it to do instead, but it just felt to me like, here, let's talk about him being upset about killing robots, but then like not a lot's going to happen with that because 5 pages later he's going to die. You know what I mean? It's just like I don't know. Maybe if I read it again with your thought process on that in mind, it might change my view on it, but
maybe.
I don't know. I personally was not big on this book, obviously.
Damn.
So I watched the movie last night.
I did not.
Again.
That's weird. A role reversal.
Or actually no, I watched it this morning.
Mm.
But the movie's completely different. I mean, they send Wolverine back instead of Kitty Pryde. Actually, Kitty Pryde is who sends him back, which
makes no sense.
How would she do that? I thought that was dumb.
I don't know.
But she sends Wolverine back. Magneto and Professor X are both in the future, where in the story, in the book and comic, he's dead already.
Yeah, Charles is long dead.
But they make up a thing about Wolverine being the only one that can do it because his mind would be able to handle it because he can heal.
Yeah.
And so...
Sure. Like that I'm fine with.
Yeah, that's fine.
But why did it have to be... I know it's because... because she does it in the comic, but why does it have to be her? Her powers don't do that.
Power. Yeah. Yeah, that bothered me a lot.
Because they're going to... Sorry to cut you off,
good.
But they're going to like... From what I remember, they throw in so many like new mutants in that like future timeline.
Yeah.
Why not just have Rachel in there?
Yeah, just do that. Or like make up, if you don't want to use her, make up a completely new one.
Yeah, because like they have like what is it, Bishop? He's there. I think Spike is there.
Mm-hmm.
One of the what's it? Is it? No, it's not Sunspot, is it? One of the new mutants is there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like a whole bunch of people.
Have Charles do it. I mean,
yeah.
I know that is never specified as something he could do, but it would make more sense for him to do it.
Yeah. He is, I think, an Omega level mutant. Yeah. Maybe.
Something
like that.
So that was weird.
But then again, so's Bobby Drake, so that doesn't mean anything.
Professor X can walk in the 70s because he's taking a drug that makes him not have his powers.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
He's shooting up walking.
That bothered me so much. I know that they wanted there to be like a reason that he would have started doing it, but I feel like it would have worked so much better for what they were trying to do. Because basically what they were trying to do in the movie is have him be like an addict almost. And the main thing is that he can't handle all the voices from his power anymore. He's like, he can't handle experiencing that and dealing with all of the thoughts of these other people.
Yeah. And also Vietnam.
Vietnam is going on, and a lot of the mutants are in Vietnam, and so he's upset about that. And that makes sense. So I feel like they could have easily just been like, he wants to get rid of his powers.
Yeah.
So he's just shooting up to get rid of his powers. You don't have to have it
shooting up what? Say it.
Shooting up walking.
Shooting up walking.
Well, I mean, it's just like, why? How would it fix his legs?
Don't they say some dumb stuff like it rewrites his DNA?
Mm-hmm.
It rewrites his legs.
That's not how that works. That bothers me. That really bothers me.
Does that mean it's like a DNA thing instead of the bullet that hit him?
Yeah, no. The bullet rewrote his DNA so his legs wouldn't work.
Yeah. That's cool.
So, yeah, I hate that.
We'll say, though,
Quicksilver is awesome in that movie.
Quicksilver's pretty cool. Probably the best Wolverine outfits, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's all
Oh
really
yeah,
good.
his like 70s
Yeah.
good stuff.
Still don't like Mystique in the
Yeah.
movies.
She was all right.
Yeah. It's did you so that movie also came out around 2014. Did you see any of the stuff that they were putting out before the movie where it was like a whole bunch of like dossiers on like JFK? It's like, "Oh, JFK's a mutant."
Yeah. Yeah, no, I didn't see any of that, but that checks out because they make a reference to that in the movie.
Yeah, it's a reference to the marketing material that like nobody remembers.
That's so weird.
But yeah, in the universe of that movie, JFK was a mutant, and his superpower was like being really charming. No, I'm kidding. His superpower was that his head blows up.
Jesus.
Well,
And that's the thing. Like, Magneto is in prison for killing him, except that he didn't kill him. He was trying to save him or something.
Yeah, that's why the bullet was all weird.
So, yeah. I also like. So Magneto tries to kill, Mystique, Raven, whatever,
Jennifer Lawrence.
as soon as he finds out, so she is still in the comic. She's the leader of the New Brotherhood.
Yeah,
and she's trying to assassinate Senator Kelly. In this, she's trying to assassinate Bolivar Trask, who is the guy that created the Sentinels.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're still trying to stop her from assassinating. That's a whole thing. So they get Professor X and they convince him to quit, walking so that he can help. And so Wolverine and Professor X and Hank McCoy, Beast, go to find Quicksilver, and they go to bust Magneto out of prison.
In the Pentagon. Yeah.
And so they bust him out. There's a really cool scene with Quicksilver, and then they leave Quicksilver and go to stop her, basically. So they track down Mystique, they find her, and they go stop her from killing Trask. And that's great. And then immediately, Magneto is like, all right, I'm going to kill her. I'm gonna kill Mystique. Because they know that the Sentinels in the future use her DNA. They used her DNA to come up with the plan to make those. They adapt or whatever. It's a whole thing.
They steal people's powers,
which
that's not even her thing.
No, it's not.
No,
not at all.
She just looks like people.
Yeah, she can't use powers of people that she looks like. She can just look like them.
Yeah, that's like the whole thing.
Yeah, so that doesn't make sense at all.
Nope.
But also, him doing that, I understand that it's like maybe not that out of character for him because Magneto is maybe a little impulsive sometimes.
Maybe.
I don't know. I guess it depends on who's writing him, probably.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's a pretty calculated guy. And it just seems stupid that he would do that because she runs and he still shoots her. And then her blood gets on the ground, and then they take her blood, and they're able to figure out the Sentinels thing. Yeah. So I'm like, what did you think you were going to do to stop that from happening? You know what I mean? Like, if she's alive, you could go kill her somewhere else. Yeah. Or, you have options.
Stupid or something?
I don't get that. I feel like that was bad writing a little bit. They just wanted him to be evil.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, he's evil, sure. But, like, he's not stupid. I don't know. Thought that was dumb. And then, it seems like he's got this good plan. He goes, the stuff that happens there is enough to convince the government that, yes, we do need the Sentinels. Yeah. So plan is going badly. And so they go ahead and start to activate these 8 that they have. And Magneto finds the train that they're on, and he adds some metal to them while they're being transported, which is a great plan. And so then Mystique is still trying to kill Trask because she's dumb.
Yeah.
And so Xavier, McCoy, and Wolverine are all trying to stop her still. and then Magneto shows up, and again, like you could have had a really good plan here. Like you already know all of the future stuff that goes badly, and you could have had a really smart plan here, and you messed it up. You made it really stupid. He picks up a baseball stadium.
Yeah, he does.
And he drops it on this press conference.
Mm-hmm.
And but before he drops the stadium, he's having the Sentinels like start shooting at the crowd. That's the great idea. You know, make everybody afraid of the Sentinels.
Yeah.
And they will shut down the Sentinels program. If they don't know that you did it, all the better. Like, everybody's good. And they're not going to be afraid of the mutants as much. Instead, what he does is he's like, you should. He gets the cameras and he's like, you should be afraid of us. We're really scary. I'm going to kill everybody here. And it's like, dude, like, do you really think this is going to help you? If the whole reason everything went wrong is that everybody's scared of you. And you basically are like, yeah, that's right. Be scared. Like, I don't understand. I felt like that was bad writing.
Yeah.
So
I do have issues with the movie.
It's a really fun movie, though.
It is really fun.
That's the thing that bugs me. That's maybe one of the most fun of the X-Men movies. I really like it. But then I'm also like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. Also, I blame that movie for like all the dumb Marvel stuff that we're getting now.
Yeah.
Like Deadpool and Wolverine. The new Avengers movie where they're bringing back the cast of X-Men.
Yeah.
That's all because of this movie. Because they were like, well, we have these new X-Men, but what if we also get the older X-Men with it? And they've ruined movies for the next like 20 years.
Yeah. Yeah, it is kind of a habit that they have.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
It
was nice in that movie.
Yeah, it's cool.
And the way they did it in that movie is brilliant.
Yeah.
Like, the X-Men in the future part are all of the old cast, and the X-Men in the past part are all of the new cast.
Yeah.
Great idea. So, I don't know. Cool movie. Had fun watching it again.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fine.
I also watched the 2-part adaptation of Days of Future Past that's in the 90s cartoon.
I have never seen that.
And it was all right. I mean, much like a lot of the 90s cartoon, the dialogue's kind of stilted. It's a little, 90s cartoon.
Yeah.
But it was fun. It was a fun watch. In this, they sent Bishop back in time.
Okay.
Instead of anybody else. And they physically sent him back in time. Like, his body time traveled. And he had a little wristband that keeps him in the past. Then he got there and he couldn't really remember what was going on. And then when he finally did, he was like, Gambit tries to assassinate, I think it was Senator Kelly. He's like, Gambit tries to assassinate Senator Kelly. We got to kill him. And they're like, well, maybe we don't kill Gambit. So they instead like lock him up with Gambit and they're like, watch him. And then Gambit gets away. And then eventually you find out, oh, Mystique is pretending to be Gambit.
Okay.
And
I mean, I was going to say, that kind of does seem like a Gambit move.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, no. Actual Gambit breaks out and runs away.
Oh, no, I meant killing the guy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
like, yeah, I could see that.
Honestly. And that's where he was, like, all upset at everybody. And they were like, I mean, wouldn't you, though?
Yeah.
But
you're not like a trustworthy guy.
Yeah. Yeah. So the team eventually gets there and stops him and whatever, and it's a whole thing. But Gambit is the one that stops Gambit from killing Senator Kelly.
Oh, okay.
So,
for those of you who don't know, Gambit's superpower is that he throws cards.
Yeah. He's got the coolest costume. That's his superpower.
Oh yeah, he's got that like on his head. It's weird.
And he's got gloves that only the middle 2 fingers are in.
Yeah,
and
he's got a trench coat. Like, even when he wears the X-Men uniform, he always throws that coat over
That's my favorite thing about his outfit.
Yeah.
It's like, I love the idea of her. Also, Rogue does a similar thing, and I like both of their outfits for that reason. That they have like a classic like superhero spandex thing going on, but then they also are just like she's wearing like a cool bomber jacket kind of thing, and he's got this trench coat on, and I'm like, that's sick.
It's like the
More
one
people should do that.
It's like the one thing that I really liked about the Spider-Verse movie.
Yeah.
Is that it's like, yeah, he's got like a Spider-Man costume and he's got like regular clothes over it.
Uh-huh.
It's like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, big
That's
fan
really
of
cool.
that. Big fan of that.
Also, just kind of a tangent. In the early 2000s, I think it was either the New X-Men or the Astonishing X-Men run right after that had the best X-Men outfits. Where it was just like the black leather bomber jackets with the huge yellow X's on them.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Those are great. I'd love to have one of those.
That'd be cool.
That's the end of my tangent.
So, apparently, there were a few sequel comics to this.
Yes.
I didn't read any of those.
I didn't either.
I didn't look into them a whole lot. They do a Wolverine one where they do some of the like stuff that's leading up to that, which I think would be kind of cool. Like him working with this Canadian Resistance Army and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Kind of what happens to Magneto to put him in a wheelchair and some other things in this story.
He fell down some stairs.
Yeah, probably. He's old.
He's
I think
extremely
is the main thing.
old. Yeah.
But you know, like a lot of it was just some time travel mumbo jumbo. Probably not as good as the original story, if we're gonna be honest.
Yeah.
And so I was looking it up. John Byrne.
I think it's Byrne.
John Byrne is the one that wrote this, I guess, or came up with the general plot for it.
Maybe.
Because his like partner, the guy that does most of the writing, I guess basically he was like, I want to do a story with the Sentinels, and the other person was like, you can do that if you want. And so he came up with this idea, and then later he, I guess in an interview or something, was talking about how he thinks that subconsciously it was inspired by a Doctor Who episode, which is Day of the Daleks, which is the third Doctor, John Pertwee. And in that, they find this, there's like somebody spots this weird guy with a futuristic gun, and he's threatening somebody, and they're like, what the heck? And then this guy just disappears. And so they go to investigate, and then the Doctor finds a time machine, like a really janky time machine. And so he's the whole time trying to figure out what's going on with it, and he ends up getting it to work, and it takes him to like 200 years in the future or something. And there's like the whole place is overrun by Daleks, and there's a whole big bad thing happening. And so they discover there's a team of people that's trying to come back to kill this guy to make sure this future doesn't happen.
Okay.
But then he ends up discovering that them coming back is what causes the future to happen.
Makes sense, yeah.
Very Doctor Who thing. But I just thought it was interesting that was maybe the inspiration for that. It's kind of cool.
That's real cool.
So, yeah, that's Days of Future Past.
Look at that.
So I guess now it's probably time for our game.
Game time.
Game time.
Yay. Tell me what this game is.
So
Tim.
this one is relatively uncreative.
Nice. That's what I like to hear.
Basically, I had the idea of like mind reading, because Chucky Xavier is somebody, is a guy.
Are you going to read my mind?
So, yeah, what I was thinking that I'd have you do is so we've got 4, 5. So I want you to write down an animal, a color, a number from 1 to 10, and I had other things.
Nice.
An X-Men character.
Okay.
And, I'm going to specify an X-Men character from this story.
Oh, okay. So I can't say like armor or something?
Yeah, you can't do anything crazy there.
Man.
And then the last one is I'm going to have you pick a book from last season.
Ooh, okay.
And so I'm going to try and guess what you wrote.
All right. Said an animal?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're never going to get this.
And so for all of you at home, what we're gonna do here, if I get 3, I win. If I only get 2 right or less, Joey wins. and whoever loses is going to have to put a strip of duct tape on each leg. We'll say
On each. Okay.
a good foot of duct tape on each leg, and then rip it off.
Nice.
And that's where we're at with this. So I'll let you get going on that.
All right, I'm gonna show this to the camera if they can see it.
Yeah, we'll find out here in a second, won't we?
I hope you can read that. All right. Number 1, an animal.
All right.
Wait, no, you're reading my mind.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me hone in on this guy. A beaver.
No.
What was it?
Wait, do you only get one guess? Yeah.
Yeah.
A platypus.
Dang it. All right. All right. So
Let me X that off.
all right. So our next one here, color.
A color.
Orange.
No, it's red.
No. All right. If I get one more wrong, I'm screwed.
Yeah.
All right.
Number 3.
1 to 10.
A number.
3.
No, it's 2.
Dang it. Oh,
Let's
well, I
keep
guess
going.
it's happening to me.
A character from
Okay.
this comic.
Okay. I can do this. Pyro.
Hey, you got it. Yeah.
Yes, I did. That's right.
My least favorite character. All right, a book from last season.
Roadside Picnic?
No, the gods themselves. Wow, you, man,
I did really badly.
you're really bad.
I should have given myself a couple guesses, but that's okay.
Maybe. Let me tell you, my original answer was going to be an Arctic fox.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's the only one I was going to change.
Yeah.
But I went with platypus.
Right on. All right,
Yeah.
well, I guess I'm getting punished.
Yeah. Before you do that, though, I just want to ask you a question, because when we
Yeah.
were like mind reading, you ever see that clip that someone dubbed over from the 90s cartoon where Xavier was making Magneto see the Holocaust?
Oh,
he was like,
man.
Holocaust beam.
That's messed up. That's messed up. No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah.
That's
and
really
then
funny.
Here, you can have this back.
Well, I don't know about really funny.
It was pretty funny.
It's pretty funny.
Just so you know, I wasn't cheating.
Yeah.
All right.
So there we have it. I don't know. I guess here comes the hurt train. Does that look long enough for a leg? Yeah. Oh gosh. Okay. All right. Okay. Let's get up in there. Get a nice side there, maybe. All right. Okay. And then we'll roll her up and get one on the other one there. Get her going, huh?
Yeah, I'm not mic'd up, so I don't know if I should be talking.
I mean, you can talk, but I'm not excited about how that. Yeah, that already hurt a little bit just with the it moving a little bit on my leg. Do you want me to do them at the same time?
No.
Okay. All right, one at a time. Yeah. Bottom to top or top to bottom?
Bottom to top.
Okay.
Yeah, go against the grain.
All right. Okay. Are you guys ready for this? Do you want me to look dead in the camera while I do it? We'll just stare it down. Ow. Okay. That's fine. It wasn't so bad.
I wanted to see it.
It wasn't so bad. Okay, I'm sorry. Here. I mean, yeah, there you go. See? There's hardly anything in there. But you wouldn't be able to see it anyway because my hair is so blonde. Here, I'm going to get this one on there. Really just work it in. Hold on. Work that in there. Maybe I'm just too strong for this. If we waxed my legs, that would be way worse.
Oh
That would be like 1,000 times worse. I would cry if we waxed my legs. So maybe that'll be a future punishment. How about that? You ready for this?
Yeah.
Get in there. Just really get it. Oh, that was way worse. Okay. That's how that's supposed to work.
Wow, that looks.
It's fine.
Did anything happen?
Yeah, I mean, it pulled a bunch of my hairs out. Yeah, they're so blonde. Thanks, thanks for watching, guys. As always.
Well, this was fun. It's so nice to be back here. It's been so long, and I'm so glad that we're starting a new season. This is going to be real fun.
Yeah,
I like what we have lined up.
Really, really looking forward to what's coming with this season. I guess I was pretty happy with just the idea of doing these adaptations.
Yeah.
This one was I think an interesting place to start.
Yeah.
I personally, again, not the biggest fan of this book, but I didn't dislike it. It was good for what it was trying to do, I think.
I had a fun time.
And I enjoyed jumping into some X-Men stuff. It's been a while. So
Yeah.
that's always fun.
I don't think I mentioned this at all, but when we first came up with this idea, my plan was to read all of X-Men up to this point.
Oh, wow.
I only got like 30 issues in because that was like Stan Lee X-Men, where it's like bricks of dialogue
Yeah.
and exposition. It's kind of hard to read older comics like from the 60s. It did make me think though, the original X-Men would be a really fun CW show.
Oh, yeah, that'd be interesting.
Yeah. Because I was just getting that where it's like, oh yeah, they're all like teenagers and there's like a whole bunch of romance and fun. And also there's like a villain of the week type deal.
Yeah.
I think it would have been cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. I think
Yeah.
I would like that.
All right, Tim, what do we have next? What's up the pipe? That's not the phrase. What's next down the pipeline?
The next thing that we're doing is going to be Alan Wake.
Alan Wake.
The novelization of the video game.
Yeah. So make sure you read the book and play the game, and then join us next time.
Yeah. Join us next time. Don't forget.
Yeah. Don't
to
forget
join
us.
Check us out on Instagram.
You can't join our book club.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
And then feel free to email us at bookclubnono@gmail.com if you have anything you wanted to say about any of the previous episodes or books you'd like us to cover.
Yeah.
So
you'll know it's us if the name reads Blobbert Optional.
that's us.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Thanks for joining us. And
thanks for joining us. Goodbye.
one more take.
All right.
So I called this cocktail a future fashion.
Whoa.
Whoa.
That's crazy.
Crazy. All right. Yeah.
Wow.